Good evening, everybody. It's 6 o'clock, so our meeting is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, anybody have any questions about the agenda? Okay, I just need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Is anyone out there interested in Ward Alderman 1 until the next election? You guys can all raise your hand.
Or we could just appoint you.
Okay, and then we'll go on to the next one. Anybody care to be the mayor? Okay, so we will go on to item number 6. We need to approve, if there's not any changes to the meeting minutes of Tuesday, August 20th.
I'll make the motion to approve regular meeting minutes of Tuesday, August 20th, 2024.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. At this time, we'll go into public input. If anybody has any public input they'd like to talk about at this time, you're welcome to. I have had several concerned about the swimming pool. So are we. But he has worked. He's got it blasted out. It will now go with some a paint that will be put in. And then it will be cemented. I tried to call him today again, and of course he hasn't called me back, but I just said I would like this project complete in September. So we will see if he answers back, but that's our hope, so. Okay, at this time, we're glad to see all of you here tonight. We will have the Purple Heart proclamation for the city of Alcester.
Get you guys all to come forward.
Everybody step forward. You guys can come up too. So tonight from the Military Order of the Purple Heart, we have with us Lars Perry, Bill Flippo, and Ken Tunison. And for our local Purple Heart recipients, honoring Art Peterson from World War II, Mike and Lorna Peterson. We have Eugene Swanson from Vietnam. The Johnsons for Herb Johnson from World War II. Steve Keywell from Vietnam. Gene Doty, Kevin Johnson from John Peterson. And Adrian Ludwig representing Arvid Thermosgard. And our other recipient local was Frank Hammersma, also from Vietnam, or from World War II, excuse me. And then we also have Delane Fickbaum from the local VFW post. Whereas the Purple Heart, the oldest military decoration in use today, evolved from the badge of military merit created by General George Washington for the common soldier in 1782. And whereas the Purple Heart is awarded to members of the United States Armed Forces that have been wounded or killed in combat with the declared enemy of the United States of America. And whereas the mission of the Military Order of the Purple Heart is to foster an environment of goodwill among the combat wounded veterans and their families, promote patriotism, support legislation, and most importantly, make sure we never forget. And whereas the residents of the city of Alcester have great admiration and the utmost respect for all the men and women who have selflessly served their country in this community in the armed forces. And whereas the city of Alcester is located in the state of South Dakota, And Union County has a large, highly decorated veteran population, including multiple Purple Heart recipients. And whereas the contribution and support of the City of Alcester, South Dakota, and Union County is vital to the citizens of the United States of America as to our military history and heritage. And whereas the City of Alcester, along with the Military Order of the Purple Heart, Chapter 5355, appreciates the sacrifices our Purple Heart recipients have made in defending our freedoms, and believe it is important that we acknowledge them for their courage and show them the support they have earned. Now therefore, the City Council for the City of Alcester do hereby proclaim this city as a Purple Heart City in honor of all combat wounded veterans and to fully support the Military Order of the Purple Heart. In witness thereof, this is signed this 5th day of September, 2024.
You guys want to squish together a little bit? This one? Here, Glenn, and that's.
Thank you.
So, real quick, we want to be real quick about it, not waste your time. During the proclamation, patriotism was brought up, and we appreciate all that patriotism, and that's what Purple Heart Trail is all about, is promoting patriotism, keeping things alive that way, and helping everybody understand. But you think about, today is the anniversary of the 1774 very first Continental Congress. So think about that. That might be the very first time patriotism in the United States actually came to be. Because the 13 colonies got together and said, that's enough. So, good job. Thank you.
Do you want to kind of tell them where we're thinking of putting these signs?
I will let him speak and I'll let you know.
Yeah, just real quick for me, the Purple Heart Trail encompasses the 48 lower states, starts in Virginia. For South Dakota, we're sitting at 26 cities, 10 counties. There's 18 businesses, 1 university, I-90s, a Purple Heart Trail from state to state border. And then as far as the Purple Heart Medal goes itself, estimated 1.8 to 2.0 million Purple Heart recipients. There is no exact number that was ever created. There is no database that says who exactly has been awarded the Purple Heart. And currently there's an estimated 250,000 living Purple Heart recipients. So to do this in a small town in South Dakota is awesome. Like it shows that folks that have gone and experienced some really hard times. Most of the time, that people that have received the Purple Heart, that's probably their worst day they've ever faced. So it is about promoting patriotism. It is about showing people where we came from and what it took to get there. And sometimes we got to continue. So we appreciate everything you guys did and becoming the 26th city in South Dakota to do this. So thank you from Military Order of the Purple Heart.
I would like to interject Ken Tunison, the city's maintenance individual, contact the state supervisor. They'll put the signs on the state highway at the city limit. The city will have to put the signs on the blacktop south of the city. They'll
be here Monday.
They'll put them up with their hardware on their signposts. They don't even have to do anything.
I did reach out to DOT. They're coming to pick up the signs on Monday. Later in the week, we'll get the ones south town coming into town from off the interstate from Iowa. The combat veteran or the veteran parking only and the reserved Purple Heart wounded combat signs. We'll have one of each posted downtown, and then one of each posted at the clubhouse.
Good, thank you.
From myself, Eugene and Steve, thank you for your service and your sacrifice. We appreciate you as a community. For the rest of you, I thank you for being here to represent your families. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
Across North Africa, Sicily, and then Italy, and that's where he lost his leg.
Thanks, Dave. Glad to be here.
Next to
Not a done.
That's what happened with Grandma when they dropped the gate on the landing craft. They came in like 300 guys got off the boat, the rest of them just got loaded.
All right, legal updates, number 9, Sheriff's Office.
I don't really have any further updates on the park discussion.
Sheriff Prouty messaged me, they did not have anything for today.
And I have to say, I've seen the Sheriff's Department, they were there today, watching after school, so that's good. Sorry. You're right. Number 10, approve paying the El Sister Hudson School $304.75 out of the DARE account for homecoming presentation and the closing of this DARE account.
So a little background, the city's had this DARE account for quite a number of years. It's just been sitting there idle. At the beginning of the school year, the school has started working on raising awareness of drug and alcohol use and abuse, opioid use within the community, trying to raise awareness and hopefully, minimize the effects of these things in our community and in our school. One of the things that they're going to be doing, I got an email from Mr. Van Ingen. They are going to be having Angela Kennecke come on homecoming day to speak to the students. For those that you don't know, she's the founder of Emily's Hope, an advocacy group centered on awareness around her own daughter's use of illegal substances and opioid overdose. So he had asked if the city would be willing to assist in covering some of the costs. And we had talked about some things that we could potentially do with that funds. And that's what he's asked of the city for that. So.
So at this time, is there a motion to close the account, the DARE account, and give the $304.75 to the school's promotion of drug use?
I'll make a motion to approve paying El Sister Hudson Schools $304.75 from the DARE account for homecoming presentation and close the DARE account. I'll second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any questions on that from anybody? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The next one, if you see in your handouts, it is a pay application of $174,000. It's number 16. $869.36 to the Industrial Process Technology for the work completed through August 20th of '24. So is there a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to approve pay application 16 in the amount of $174,869.36 to Industrial Process Technology for work completed through August 20th, 2024.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Julia?
No,
Kendra?
first, I think.
All right.
Doesn't matter.
There's been a motion and a second to approve paying application 16 in the amount of $174,869.36 to Industrial Process Technology. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then going on to number 12, approve resolution 2024-12, authorizing the assignment of paying agent and bond register resignation to Amco Bond Services LLC.
I can give you a little background for this. One of the advisors from AMCO, they are the creator of the bond for the most recent sewer utility revenue bond. In their updating of their services and agreements with Zion Bank, which is the holder of the bond, this is just a change requested by both parties. So what this would do is when we make our payments to for the bond, it would just changing it to, we're paying it to AMCO instead of Zion Bank, but none of the other information, dollar amounts or any of that stuff would change.
Any other questions on that? Is there a motion to approve resolution 2024-12 to the payment of paying agent and bond register designation to Amco Bond Services LLC?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Julia? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The next one will be, it goes with our sanitary sewer improvement project, approving a proposal from Kevin Sanford, quote for uncovering and raising manholes for $41,800.
I'll make a motion to approve proposal from Kevin Sanford, quote for uncovering and raising manholes for $41,800.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? And that's you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I had to look at you a little bit, I thought.
I'm a little late, so I just got here. But
Do
yes,
you have
ma'am.
any questions for us before we?
No, do you guys have anything for me? I mean, okay.
Okay, so, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. You're approved, Kevin.
Sounds good.
So, thank you very much.
Get
Thank
to it.
you. I'll just talk to you later.
Good luck.
Okay. Good night, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Kevin.
The next one is Kathy Joseph, who does have experience in the clubhouse in the past, is interested in working part-time at the community center. She would work mostly days, but she doesn't want a waitress, but she's got very good cooking background. So it would be hiring her at $15.25 an hour, effective immediately. And she possibly, I don't know how we can renege on this, could work some on Mondays. So we could at least, I don't know if we could change it so we could be open on Mondays. That's something we'll have to talk about, but that is something she said I wouldn't work till night, but I mean, she works some. So Is there,
I'll make a motion to approve hiring Kathy Joseph as clubhouse attendant at $15.25 per hour effective immediately.
And I'll second
okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
it. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The budget presentation, first reading.
I can start, and Dave, if you have any input, you can add it. Did you send out a copy, correct, of this? We just have a resolution. I didn't make it there in my papers yet. So.
Yeah. I think it was close.
Oh, it's the last page. That's fine. The last page of the town.
Too.
So this is basically, you guys saw it last year, like the snapshot of everything. I'll kind of go through mine, and so it'll take a little bit longer. I'll try and guide you along this, but no promises. So basically it just starts at the general fund. Really, nothing has changed. Our income percentages did go down a little bit from last year to go into the formula, but that's just because there wasn't really anything built per se, so those percentages are just a little less from the county. It actually did not, like, our budget is still a little bit higher than it was last year, so even though those numbers went down, our budget is more than it was last year. So that's good. I'm just gonna go through this so it'll be easier for you guys. So going into, so basically all that change, these are expenses, revenue. So everything from the police department is obviously changed, so it is just our one lump sum that will be paid to them. These are all the ones when we get to the expenses that you guys care more about. Okay, sorry, looking at the expenses. So our general fund is basically just our professional fees that come out for our ACH that we now have and all of the subscriptions that we have implemented this year. Our city council is basically the same, nothing has changed in it, except in that budget line item, which would be under the general government and whatnot, we did add in our new insurance coverage. So that changed from last year just because we changed insurances. The mayor expenses set the same, election is the same. Finance office expenses are pretty much the same. We did include the increase in salary that we all talked about last time. And then in that also is the new code enforcement. So we already have the property maintenance and the deposit that goes to them. And then we'll also include the building code that we approved last meeting or 2 meetings ago. That's now under the finance office. Before it wasn't like a direct line item to come out of anything, so we wanted to make sure it was really clear where it was coming out of and why. So that is in there. So it's just clear if anybody were to ask what it was coming out of. And then also all the support fees for all of the subscriptions we have through Banyan is also under the finance office. The city attorney, that is all same. And then going into the garage and shop. Really, everything is the same for that, except we are adding in the roof is leaking on the garage, which we've talked about previously, and because if in our appropriation ordinance, we actually had a little bit of an overage, so we had some money to spend, so we wanted to see what we could do with those funds. I feel that the city has not done the best job of actually keeping up on everything. It's just been a lot of Band-Aid fixes, and then something goes really wrong, and then they're like, oh crap, something went really wrong, what do we do? So my hope after starting this last year and now going into this year is that we can look a little bit forward thinking and figure out what can we fix now so it doesn't become a disastrous event 5-10 years down the road. I felt that that was something that we need. There's a lot of equipment in there. The shelving is right there. That houses a lot of things, and if they were all to get wet, it'd be more expenses that we'd have to pay. So I thought, I gave a list to Dave, and Dave talked with Lonnie of things that we thought could possibly be fixed. Most of them are in the street and water department because they do the most. And they are the oldest operating things. So a lot of the money did go towards those. So there is a large chunk of money that's going to the shop for repairs, mainly focused on the roof. The police department is just our contract with Union County and with the increase that they requested per year. Everything is still running down there since they do use it, so we do still have to pay the electricity and whatnot, so that's in there too. The fire department is all the same, just the allowance that we give them, and then the fire training that we give them $1,000 per year. Street department includes the increase of Lonnie as well. Another improvement that I suggested was last year they were struggling with the dump truck box. Shane fixed the truck itself, so we didn't have to outsource that, but the box itself is rusted and holey and doesn't actually function as a dump truck. So you can't really do anything with it. They couldn't carry anything. It had to be kind of, again, Band-Aid fixed just to haul the concrete from the pool to the to the rubble pile. And so because the truck literally has like, don't quote me on the number of miles, but I think it's like 2,000 or 3,000. There's like next to no miles on it. I feel like that's another thing that we should put money into to maintain it so it's usable. Because to buy a new one would be a lot more expensive. So that box, doing that. Also to do all of Beck's Drive in the next season. And then also the east side of Iowa to Broad Street. That part that hasn't
On
been
First
done.
Street. I forgot to include that. It would be First Street from Iowa.
To Broad, which there is a chunk there that still needs to be repaired and it didn't get done this year, so that would be. That would be on.
First Street.
First Street.
It's pretty rough.
Okay, yeah.
Other places in towns will still get it, it's not just that chunk, but that is a large chunk that's gonna use a lot, so we wanted to add that in, so it didn't have to come out of the regular budget of all the asphalt. Also to chip seal downtown, that is not in the current proposal of what they're chip sealing this year, and they will be doing it this year. So that is for next year. Then there are 2 more, correct Dave, storm gutters.
There's three more storm drains downtown that are falling apart and need to be replaced. One of them is just to the west of the police station on 2nd Street, and that whole section of curb and gutter is really bad. The other 2 are right there on the corner near the Senior Citizen Center. One's on Iowa and one's on 2nd Street. So those are in that whole curb and gutter, that whole section on that corner is pretty rough.
So again, since we redid the other side and it looks really nice now.
Yeah, it does look really nice.
Hoping to just get that done so then we can have more of just a maintenance upkeep instead of redoing everything.
And then Lonnie's planning on replacing that fire hydrant that is right there on that corner as well, because that's due to be replaced at that time too.
So it'll all be done, hopefully at the same time. Any questions so far? Okay.
Is it our job to do all the fire hydrants? Is that city water has to do that?
Snow removal is basically the same. Lonnie figured out those numbers and what he is anticipating, so there's nothing really new or included in that. For the cemetery, there are some trees that need to be removed. That was also part of that capital improvement budget that we added in, and to replace them. And then they are needing to run power to the shed over there, so that will be included. Ambulance is the same and the pool is the same, since there hasn't been anything this year. And then going into the park, there are more trees that need to be removed at the park. So just to see, we're not quite sure what trees and how many yet. So it's about 2 trees that can be removed with this budget. But depending on what, that would go into the park for renovation and revitalization, that they can budget that in depending on how the architects draw up their plans and what other trees need to be removed. But we have 2 trees basically in the budget to be removed for any safety concerns.
And they're both fairly large cotton trees that are gonna take somebody to contract to remove them. So,
Yeah.
speaking of the park, I'll just throw this in there. with the engineers. We did get the preliminary conceptual designs back for the park, and we'll be meeting with the park committee, and the engineers will be meeting up at the event center on the 18th at 6:30 to go over those preliminary drawings. So if there's anybody from the council that would like to join us. The plan for that is engineers will present their 3 concepts to the park committee. Park committee will take bits and pieces and mash them up and put their input, things that they like, don't like, things like that, and then the engineers will come take those suggestions and remake those concepts, and then later this fall, early winter, then at that time they'll have the big presentation boards, and then we'll be able to do a presentation with the committee, the council, and the public at large. So, and then at that point, we would know cost estimates and all of that stuff.
For the auditorium or the office building, nothing really changed. The only addition is to add the rent in. So having it still as a rental, something we're gonna change with that, but just to make sure that we have that in the budget, so. And then for water is salary, the new hydrant downtown that Dave talked about, the meter install that we will be starting this year and getting as much done as possible this year, but there is gonna be some additional installations into next year, so that there's budgeted into next year. There is nothing planned for next year for the water tower, so there isn't anything major as of right now for maintenance that needs to be done on it. And all of the emergency repairs that they labeled as high priority have been done. So we will wait until that is all included in Banyan's new proposal for the water stuff. So there's nothing budgeted for that next year. Sewer, it's a large amount, but it's because of the wastewater treatment facility. So that is why it's so high, and then obviously salaries are included in that, and that has the phase 1 of the project of 1.4 million, so that's why it looks so high. And then solid waste, there's really no change, it's just all the continuing fees and charges and just the regular billing stuff that we have for that. Second penny is just all the bonds we have, so it's the golf course, equipment, basically is all coming out of that. We do have 4 extra things coming out of the second penny check, so 2 will be for the golf course, 1 is for the park, and then the fryer and whatnot that we requested for the clubhouse, that'll also be coming out of that, since that is what they asked for. The 2 for the golf course are mowers, and the park as well, actually, so there's 3 mowers, and then the fryer that will be coming out of second penny. And basically how second penny works is all of our bonds and whatnot, and then any extra from that can be allocated for special projects. So that's what we did for those.
No, are we getting some budget parts to figure out that way?
That's out of that.
That's what you're talking
Yep,
about?
that's what they
Okay, that's
requested.
what I was wondering. Okay.
And then the community center is basically all the same, nothing really increased. It looks a little bit different than last year if you go line item by line item, just because Dave combined a lot of things, so it looks like there's some high dollar stuff. But really, last year was just split into like 6 different supplies things, and now it's all in one. And repair and maintenance were also all separated, and now it's all combined into one. So if there's just no confusion, it's a little bit easier to know where to take it from. And the library is also all the same. That includes the books that we talked about last meeting, and the split cost of the library catalog that we share with the school, but otherwise nothing has changed with it. Any questions on any of that? Any concern? Anything you feel should be different?
Well, one of the concerns I had, I was sitting there thinking last week, you know, it costs the city for these meter readers to be put in
Mm-hmm.
at each home.
Mm-hmm.
we have homes that are outside of the legal city limits that we are putting these in, shouldn't they be covering that cost instead of the city?
They're still getting charged that surcharge that was instituted to pay for the project. So they're paying that surcharge that everybody else within the city limits was. So in effect, they are paying for it.
We are paying the upfront cost of the water meter installation.
Right.
And the city is then paying us back by the surcharge.
Yep.
And they are included in that.
Well, to me, that doesn't seem right, but that seems like there should be an additional charge, but whatever.
I guess I'm not understanding, because they are paying for it. They're just not paying up front for it, but neither are any of us.
Right, but they are not in the city limits and we're giving them,
And they might not all need new water meters. Because not everybody is getting a new water meter.
Only if they're not compatible with, yeah, if they're over 1 million gallons or nearly over 1 million gallons, or if they're not compatible with just the endpoint, then they're getting the meter and the endpoint.
I just don't see how they're, you say there's a surcharge to them too,
Yep.
just like all of us here, they are gonna be charged for that.
That
Because
is,
it wouldn't be fair that the city would be paying this and they get something for free.
Anybody that gets a water bill from us has the surcharge.
yeah. So they pay that same $5 surcharge that everybody else in this room does.
Okay,
So they have been paying for it, just like the rest of in-town folks. The only difference with those people is they aren't charged the sewer because they aren't connected to the sewer system.
and I don't think there should be a there.
So that's the big difference.
And if we brought them into city limits, we would have to put in sewer,
Yeah.
which could be a big challenge.
We're spending enough on sewer.
We don't need more sewer.
Most of them don't want to be brought in, though, do they?
No.
No,
No.
I didn't think so.
Annexation is not a word they like.
Yeah.
I guess without any questions, I feel really solid in our budget this year. I was very pleased with what Dave and I, and Julia, you helped as well, came up with. I feel like the city employees are very happy with what they're able to do and what they're going to do going forward, and I hope that the city members are as well. I think quite a few things are gonna be happening next year. I know that that's a huge complaint that people have, is that they don't see things getting done. So hopefully with the upkeep of equipment and the money that we're putting forth to some larger projects, I hope that they will see that respectively within the city.
So if people ask us, for example, the road up on Neck Drive, we can say it's in our budget.
Correct, we're planning it for 2025.
Okay.
Would it be a good idea to do what we did last fall and have an open forum again to inform these people?
I was gonna talk to you guys about that at the next council meeting, about getting that on the books. But if the council is on board with it, I think it would be good to have that. We've had a lot of updates to utility billing, the website. There's a lot of things that have happened this year, and a lot of things planned with this budget for next year. So I think it would definitely be a good idea to do that next year, or this fall again, yeah. And then especially with the park as well.
Yeah,
That
once we
way,
know about the park.
that way
Yeah.
people can't complain that they didn't have the opportunity to find out.
If you guys want me to work with Landon between now and the next meeting, I can get something on this calendar for October, November sometime
Yeah. I think
Bring it
that'd
back
be
to you.
good.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
and, good, I will do that.
So that is it. You can see the total appropriations for 2025 is 1.4. Total means of finance is 1.4. They equal each other. We are able to add in stuff. And hopefully we have a good solid next year.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so
You bet.
much.
All right, Dave, that's it.
So we need a motion to approve the first reading of the City of Alcester 2025 appropriation ordinance.
I'll I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of City of Alcester 2025 appropriation ordinance.
I'll second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, guys.
Just a few reminders for everybody. Citywide cleanup starts next Friday, the 13th, and will run through the 30th, so you'll have 3 full weekends with the dumpsters downtown. That was something that people asked after the spring, was if we could look at extending that versus bringing a few more dumpsters, so.
I've heard a lot of people very excited about it,
Yeah,
so.
I'm excited about it. I have some stuff.
Yeah, me too.
And just a reminder, if you can pass it on to everybody at homes, if they're watching the video, do not place any metal objects in the dumpster. There's going to be a separate area off to the side. There is a gal that has a company called She Scraps that will come in and take all of the metal appliances and all that stuff. And please do not put tires in there. They cannot go in the dumpster, and they'll be sat out. They'll be pulled out before they pull the dumpsters, and then we're going to have work on getting rid of them. So we had about 30 tires that were put in there last year.
Put some kind of signage down there.
There is.
It's all,
There is.
They still do it.
oh, there's a sign up that says no dumpster diving too, that was that.
Yeah.
Although technically dumpster diving is legal in South Dakota.
Yeah, it is.
And we don't have a city ordinance that is against it, so, I mean, unless it's on private property, you really can't enforce that.
And it's a lot of fun.
I mean, yeah.
For safety reasons, please don't dumpster.
Yes.
So,
Well, thanks for those kids.
and then if you can just let people know and pass the word, the new bill delivery notification site and payment site is live. The link is on our website. There is some information on the city's Facebook page about it, but it's alcestersd.payacp.com. And once they go in there, they'll register for an account. They'll use their utility account number without the dashes, the zip code tied to their address, and they can sign up. They can set it up with a bank card, a debit card, a credit card. They can have it set up so it automatically pays on the due date out of their bank account, so they can set it and never forget it. You know, they can forget it and they never have to worry about it. They can set it up so it sends you a reminder to a text, to your text, and it'll say, hey, your bill's due in 3 days. Respond, pay now, and it will pay it. So you have all these different options. And then also another reminder that starting October 1st is the newest surcharge for the sewer improvements project of $10. So,
We will.
Quick note on the website, I am tinkering with it again, so the business directory is temporarily down. I just put a landing page that says under construction, but I'm working on it. It'll be up by like Tuesday next week, I would imagine. I did things a little bit weird the first time I was setting it up, so I wanted to do it properly.
I'm a mail on there now, right? I haven't checked since.
Yes, I did change you out. Oh, also on that, yeah, if anyone has any like information about themselves you want me to include, or like a headshot, if you have a professional headshot, send it over. Otherwise, we're all just the character emojis right now.
also on the website, I am still working on the cemetery page. It is a very large undertaking. I'm having to go back to the old books and verify lot by lot by lot. We had an issue come up today that we discovered. Lots were double sold again. Luckily, we caught it in time and we were able to correct it with the family to their satisfaction. But we're double and triple checking, so that's why it's taking so long. But the eventual goal for the cemetery page is it will have it section by section maps with those that are already interred. I'm hoping to be able to make that searchable. I'm hoping to include those that are there that are veterans. And then it'll also show, you know, what spaces are available for those that might be in the hunt for one as well. So I was hoping to get that done for this fall, but honestly, at this point right now, I won't feel comfortable probably until winter or first of the year to put that up, because it's 130
He's
years
doing
worth
that
of
at
cemetery
home
records.
On his own time, so
So,
they told me.
But if you know of anybody else that has any other suggestions for the website, please have them let me know. We're always looking to improve. So.
This was just a thought after today. Would it help to have a volunteer committee go through the cemetery in sections and write down what's there, or have you already done that?
I think right now, Julie and I have kind of talked about this. The plan is once I get the spreadsheets updated, getting them blown up and then walking it. And at that time, if there's people that would like to volunteer to help us walk sections, because there's 12 sections of the cemetery and each one is fairly large. Some are fuller than others, especially when you get into the center of the cemetery where the original portions were. But yeah, I would definitely, Julie and I have talked about hopefully being able to do that this fall. So when we're ready for that, I would absolutely take volunteers to
So
do
just
that.
have to let us know, but I think I could probably find some people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and then also with the website, Julie and I have talked about this too. Please encourage folks that if they have pictures from Alcester, whether it be just a downtown shot or old family pictures of things going on downtown, or anything Alcester related, doesn't necessarily have to be like your family, of course, but we are looking for more older pictures to put on the website and also recreate to hang up not only here in the office, but also in the clubhouse grill. And please, if someone has pictures of the original golf course that was in the 1920s, I'm sure there's somebody there. I would love to get a couple of those pictures so we can hang up the clubhouse.
There's have you guys been on I can't remember what the website is, the state website that.
South Dakota
Yeah, they have
Historical
a
Society.
ton of stuff.
I already went through all of
You did?
Alcester's when I
Okay.
was doing it. They had some really good ones. That's where I got the pictures that are on the website now of the original high school, if you've
Yeah,
seen those
and
at
there's like the
all.
old hotel and like stuff like that.
Yeah, yep, and the original bank.
Yep.
Yep,
Okay, so,
yeah,
Kurt Jervik probably has
We spoke.
Yep.
piles.
Yep.
Okay.
He sends them to me as he gets them.
Good.
That's all I have for reminders.
One more note on the website, sorry, I just thought of it. The mobile website is not great right now. It is something I'll have to figure out and work on, but it will be coming after I get done with the business directory, so. It's somewhat functional, but it's just not very pretty right now. Thank you for doing that.
Okay, we'll move into executive session pursuant to SDCL 125-1, which is personnel. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to enter executive session pursuant to SDL 1-25-21. Employee personnel.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in executive session at 6:48. 6:48.
Yep.
Executive session at 7:02. Anything else?
Are we allowed to adjourn if it's not on?
Yeah.
No, I forgot to put it on there. You guys are stuck here.
Aw.
Okay, at this time, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye, thank God.
Meeting is adjourned at 7:03.
Write it on
Did you
here
say you
myself.
spelled it wrong too?
Yeah.
I
I
missed the
look
J.
at-